Prologue. Akira. Dear Naomi, I'm your new friend. Or at least I hope to be. Teachers in school told me it's a good idea to have a pen pal to help improve my English, so I thought, why not learn from someone who's living in the States, huh? You must be wondering, why you? Good question. I observed you once. Don't ask me where, because I want to keep that a secret. But back then, I noticed two things about you. One, you have a beautiful smile that reminds me of peach blossoms and falling snow. Don't make me choose between the two, because I dig both. So imagine my surprise when I found both of those traits in something as simple as your smile. Two, you're so real that if anyone attempted to get inside you, they'd probably drown from how deep you are. I volunteer to take a tour, though, if you'll let me. Did that come off too strong? Forgive me, I tend to do that with people I'm eager to learn about, and there aren't a lot, for your information. You must be wondering, how the hell does this freak know my address? Which is another good question, but I'd rather not answer that right now. Not because I'm a stalker, though you probably think I am at this point, but because I'm not even sure you'll see this, let alone reply. Before I move on to the boring chore of introducing myself, let me tell you what compelled me to write this letter. And yes, I know I mentioned the teachers, but we both know that's an excuse to get your attention. A lame one at that. My real reason is, I want to get to know you. The girl behind the rare smiles and the fuck-the-world attitude. The girl who wears her black hair short and her lips pink. The girl whose headphones seem to be her only friend. What do you listen to, by the way? That might give me a few points on the creep meter, but I wanted to be honest with you. No secrets and no lies. I promise I'm not a dick, not for long, anyway. And I'm not some sort of an otaku, as you're probably thinking right now. If you don't know, otaku is a geek in English, or so I was told. Now that all of that is out of the way, allow me to do the introductions. Clear's throat. I'm Akira, and I was born in Japan. Tokyo, to be exact. In kanji, Akira is written with the characters for sun and moon. So I'm sort of like the whole package, having both sunlight and moonlight. Am I a catch or what? I'm a senior in high school. So we're similar in age, and you don't have to worry about old geezers, unless that's your thing. I'm not judging. So now, the million-dollar question. Can you be my friend, Naomi? Awkward silence. More awkward silence. Did that sound pathetic? Desperate? Probably. At any rate, interpret it your own way and let me know your reply. If you don't want to, simply don't send back anything. I'll move on after a week or so. But if you do reply, I'll probably do a year's worth of victory dances. Just don't get any ideas about what this is. I can only be your friend, Naomi. If you go and fall in love with me, I'll have no choice but to disappear. And that's just sad and unnecessary. Impatiently waiting, Akira.
1. Naomi. 3 years later. Everyone harbors a secret. Some are mundane, others are downright twisted. Apparently my whole existence falls under the latter because my mom is keeping it hidden like it's some sort of national intelligence. Or maybe it's international, considering where she came from. I kick the pebbles in my way as I unhurriedly make my way to cheer practice. Blackwood College is one gigantic building with an ancient feel to it. A few towers stand proudly at every corner as if they're the watchdogs of this place. Or that's what I've thought ever since I enrolled here. Once again, courtesy of my dear mama, who hasn't only made sure I study in rich people's private universities, but also that I play the part by cheering and being in the popular crowd. Who even likes cheering in college? Certainly not me. I'd rather live my 21-year-old life listening to hard rock and having as little contact with humans as physically possible, thank you very much. I'm not an antisocial who thinks stepping over people is okay. I'm merely an asocial who likes to leave them alone in hopes they'll do the same in return. No luck thus far. I stare up at the building whose walls I'm privileged to be within. A building that's as ancient as this town, located on the outskirts of New York City. Old, corrupted money constructed what others consider a place of elite education. Well, maybe it is. Or maybe I'd appreciate it better if I didn't have to wear tight, tiny clothes that reveal my belly and strain against my sports bra that I wear in a fruitless attempt to flatten my huge breasts. Huge, per the cheer captain's words. Why don't I just quit? Excellent question. The answer is simple and boring. Mom. As much as I have a love-hate relationship with the woman who gave birth to me, I haven't forgotten how much she struggled raising me on her own all these years. When I was young and depended on her, she worked several part-time jobs and barely slept to keep a roof over our heads. So when she begged me to make an effort about being in the cheer squad, I couldn't shoot her down. She just likes seeing me in the spotlight, I guess. She wants me to make it so we don't give the racist pricks any chance to look down on us just because we're of Asian heritage. That's the only reason I'm still part of this nightmare. At least I hope it is. My footsteps are heavy at best as I shuffle through the entrance to the football field. Clear sky extends for as far as I can see, and the early fall sun shines down on the terrain. Due to the great weather, the captain and our coach decided we'd practice our routines outside. There's some important home game at the end of this week between our football team, the Black Devils. Stupid name, considering the only thing devilish about them is their uniforms, and their biggest rivals from New York. The cheer squad is lined up near the sidelines because, surprise, we're not allowed to disturb their majesties while they're practicing. It's already stupid that the squad exists for their benefit, but they have the nerve to treat us like we're their whores. Most cheerleaders either fuck or date the football players, or they look at them as if they're Jesus in plural form. Like me, all my female teammates are dressed in tiny black skirts that barely cover their asses and white tops streaked with black lines. The males are wearing black pants and white t-shirts. Now, if I were a man, I wouldn't have to put my body on display, but that would mean carrying the weight of all those girls during our routines, so, on second thought, no thank you. I'd rather show my belly button and kill my breasts with tight sports bras. Can You Feel My Heart by Bring Me the Horizon is blasting in my ears 1 second, and the next, it disappears when my headphones are plucked away. I'm about to stab someone when my attention falls on none other than the captain of our squad. Raina Ellis is tall, blonde, fit, and has deep blue eyes that she's currently judging me with. Oh, and she comes from money. Not new like Mom's, but very old and influential. So she's basically the whole package, as indicated by her nickname, Queen Bee, and has the personality to go with it. She taps her foot on the ground while still holding my noise-canceling headphones, aka my saving grace, out of reach. You're late, Naomi. No, I'm not. She grabs my wrist that has a smartwatch on it and shoves it in my face. What time is that? Fine, I'm 10 minutes late. So what? This is your final warning, Naomi. Be late again and I'm suspending you. Countless people wish to be in your position, and if you don't want it, there's no need to keep it. As if I care. I want to say that, but bottle it inside because of, drum rolls, my mother. Making me a part of this plastic bunch was such a low blow, Mom. Maybe she's taking revenge because of how much I pestered her with questions about my dad while growing up. Maybe I'll have an emotional scar from the cheer squad and won't be able to live my adult life sketching mangas in a dark basement. Or maybe I'll find my father and live happily ever after. Though it's a long shot for that one. Are you waiting for an invitation? Raina cocks her head to where the others are watching the exchange with clear disdain, toward me, not their beloved captain. I extend my palm. My headphones? After practice. And only if you don't slack off. She turns around and waltzes to the others with a gentle sway of her hips. Awesome. Now I actually have to make an effort. I try not to drag my feet as I follow after her. Snickers and whispers break out among the cheerleaders at my expense. They have this wolf pack mentality, where one will start the mocking sessions and the others follow. I glare at them. What? You have something you're too scared to say out loud, so you prefer whispering like weak little bitches? The only weak little bitch here is you, Naomi. Brianna, the co-captain, and a member of Raina's mini-meat club, points at me. Look at your fat hips. I told you to start a diet. No thanks. I place a hand on my hip. And these are natural beauty. Don't be so jealous. It shows, Bee. It's Bree. Oh, my bad. I offer a makeshift smile that only angers her further, turning her face a dark shade of red. She actually has fair skin, but she spends a fortune to tan it, so whenever she's angry or frustrated, usually with me, because the others are too scared of her to speak out, she looks like a volcano at the point of eruption. The best way to kill bitches? With kindness. Honestly, I may have never let anyone walk all over me before, but it's these people and their constant bullying that's made me a bitch just like them. Wait, does this mean I'm one of them now? God, no. This is only temporary until I graduate. Then I'll live in a basement and beg magazines to publish my sketches. I only have to survive this last year, and then I can chalk up the cheer squad and everyone in it to life experience. My gaze roams around the endless haters' faces until I find Lucy's soft one. She grins at me discreetly, then instantly hides it. But it's enough to paint what resembles a smile on my lips. She's shorter and thinner than me, but she has fiery red hair and adorable freckles that dust her cheeks. Lucy is the only one I'd call a friend in the midst of these shark-infested waters, mainly because she doesn't belong to Raina's clique and is kind of a reject like me. We've found company in our misery ever since we first met as high school seniors, and it's continued in college, which isn't a surprise since almost everyone present studied with me in high school, another prestigious private institution in Blackwood. Mom and I relocated here during my senior year, and let's just say that immediately categorized me as an outcast, hence Mom's idea about my being part of the popular crowd by becoming a cheerleader. Raina starts giving instructions, and Lucy's attention goes to her. And in response, mine does too, even reluctantly. Our coach, a middle-aged woman with long black hair and thin lips, barely says anything when her favorite captain talks. I'm bored out of my mind, thinking about what food to grab later, and if I should endure the witch hunt and the fat-shaming if I eat a slice of pizza in front of the squad. Raina grabs me by the shoulders and hisses, "Focus or dream on about the headphones," before she tells me my position will be on the second line, the one right above the male cheerleaders, and, therefore, I'll be carrying her and many of the others. Yay! Thankfully, I don't make many mistakes, except for nearly dropping Brianna on her face, but oh well, accidents do happen. At least I'm not distracted by the half-naked football players carrying whatever their coach gave them and running around the field. I mean, yes, I want to watch male perfection, but I'd rather do it in secret, behind my computer screen, and not in an ogling, bring attention to me kind of way, like the other cheerleaders. If I do, it'll seem as if I'm interested in the football players, yet all I care about is the glistening of sweat on their abs that travels to other places. But I have this perfect poker face that no one is able to read behind. Lucy calls me unfeeling sometimes, but it's not that I don't feel. It's that I have immaculate control over showing my emotions. I take after my mom, thank you very much. So even when a whirlwind of emotion swirls inside me, no one can figure anything out by observing the outside. Not even the one person I actually notice on the football team. The one with sandy hair and sharp features, and hard, glistening abs that could very well be used as a weapon. The one who doesn't know half the campus exists, while everyone is taught his name the moment they step into Blackwood. But that one? Yeah, I'm glad he knows nothing of my intentions, because I will get over him. It's just a crush. If a crush can go on for this long. No, I'm sure it's only a crush, and only physical, because everything else is a big no. At the end of the routine, I'm ready to go have my pizza and give the cheerleaders the middle finger if they say anything about my hips again. As usual, all of them, Lucy included, kiss Raina's ass about how perfect the routine is and what a queen she is. Everyone except me, of course. What? She can handle some silent criticism. Then everyone starts to leave, except her holy circle of vicious mini-me's. Brianna, no surprise there. Prescott, the male co-captain, and a few other cheerleaders who've managed to get Queen Bee's seal of approval. This close circle is basically all about Raina's cult activities, aka the secret dares that she makes them do because she's bored in her expensive mansion, and tormenting other people is apparently fun. I'm about to pull Lucy away so we can go home and binge-watch the latest true crime show on Netflix when Raina calls to her. Lucy turns around, her cheeks red. Yes? I sigh. I've been teaching her to grow into her confidence, but it seems that's going to be a very long process. Once shy, always shy, I guess. Stay, Raina says, ever so casually. My lips part at the same time as Lucy's. Raina didn't just invite her to join her cult, right? My friend grins, her skin reddening with apparent excitement as she awkwardly makes her way to the captain's circle. Other members of the squad whisper, probably in both envy and hatred, as I try to make sense of the situation. There's something going on. But what? Or maybe there isn't, and I'm just being paranoid? But it doesn't make sense for Lucy to be part of Raina's close circle. She's shy, and is mostly backup in the squad, just like me. We're the invisible ones, the ones who people like looking at when we're with the others, but find boring individually. All of Raina's other subjects are either as beautiful or accomplished, or damn rich, as she is. Lucy is average on all of the above, though in my eyes, she's the prettiest. I stride toward them, my steps wide. Brianna slides in front of me, crossing her arms. You weren't invited. As if I want to belong in your secret sociopathic witch coven. I extend my palm toward Raina. My headphones? She reaches into her bag and retrieves them, but keeps them out of reach. You were passable today, Naomi. I snatch them out of her hand. I'll call when I need your opinion of me. That will be soon, bitch. Brianna breaks out in laughter, and the others follow, except for Lucy, and also Raina, who doesn't laugh or smile unless it's on her terms. She's a leader, not a follower, and makes that apparent in each of her moves. What is that supposed to mean, bitch? I ask Brianna. Let's just say your holier-than-thou attitude will be gone once... Bree. Raina cuts her off with a stern look before she directs me. Off you go. I narrow my eyes on her, then meet Lucy's gaze, but she gives me an apologetic smile, one that says she's staying with this band of assholes. But then again, that's not a surprise. Luce has always loved Raina and her followers. If anything, this is like a dream come true for her. Releasing a long sigh, I plug in my headphones and leave while listening to In the Dark by Bring Me the Horizon. Ordinarily, I'd wait until I was off of the field, but I'm more desperate than usual to block their whispers today, especially since I don't have Luce with me to lessen the blow. Does this mean I'm losing her to the Queen Bee? She has everything and everyone she wants. Why does she have to take my only friend as well? Sharp tangs of loneliness flood the base of my stomach and leave a bitter aftertaste at the back of my throat. And it scares me. The fact that I have no one and I'm all alone terrifies the shit out of me. But no more so than the idea of actually reaching out to people and being vulnerable just so they can hurt me. Both are horrifying monsters I think of every day. Ever since the day I trusted someone and they violated my innocence. I'm so engrossed in my thoughts and the loud rock music that I'm completely blinded to my surroundings. That's when it happens. I see the ball traveling my way at supersonic speed. But it's too late. My legs remain frozen in place as my eyes widen in preparation for the impact. But instead of the ball, a flash of movement catches in my peripheral vision before a hard body slams into mine. And not just any body. The body of the football player whose existence I've spent years trying to ignore. And failing. 2. Naomi. I tumbled to the ground. Or rather, both of us do in a mess of limbs and groans and awkward touches. More accurately, inappropriate touches. Holy Jesus. Please tell me I didn't just brush my fingers against his thing right now. I quickly remove my hand while he's trying to get off me, and that knocks us both down again. But this time, he's glued to me. His cut body covering my entire front, and his naked chest on my breasts. Now I'm definitely touching his thing. Or my stomach is, anyway. My cheeks would be flaming red if my emotions appeared on the surface. I never thought I'd feel the ridges of his body this intimately. At least not in this lifetime. Jesus! His abdomen is as firm as the ground against my back, only it's soft enough to sleep on, or rub my face against it, or any other activity that includes touching it. He plants his palms on the ground on either side of my head and pushes up a little. His stomach, thighs, and, his erection are so pressed against me. That's when I have my first full view of him. Sebastian Weaver, star quarterback, a former senator's grandson, and dangerous. It's not only because of his lethally attractive looks, because honestly, he could be the most beautiful man God has created. Okay, in the top 5. His face may as well have been sculpted from granite, all rough edges and with predefined expressions. Not in a serial killer kind of way, but in a, hello, I'm your next fantasy kind of way. His cut jawline and sharp nose add to the general perfection that God bestows upon only some of his creations. His eyes, though, tell a completely different story. It's not solely about their light green color that resembles the shade of a tropical sea that I've only seen in pictures. But what's most striking about them is the fading light in their depths, almost as if he's mad with the supremacy he was given. Or maybe he considers it a burden. Gee, if having his looks is a burden, we can switch. Or not. That would make me a guy, and I'd have to carry the cheer squad. Okay, wait, am I really thinking about carrying the cheerleaders when I'm trapped under Sebastian's body? A very hard one at that. No, I don't mean his dick is hard, though I think it's getting there. But all of him, from his chest to his thighs, and even his whole face. His dark, sandy blonde hair falls across his forehead, creating a dreamy contrast against his sun-kissed skin and the light color of his eyes. Eyes that are currently narrowing at me as if I committed a mistake by merely existing. Move, he says in that slightly raspy voice of his, one that's meant to whisper dirty things in the dark. Or maybe in the light. Who cares? What? Either you heard me and you're playing dumb, or you have hearing issues, both of which I don't give a fuck about. My small worship at his altar while ogling him phase comes to a screeching halt at both his words and their condescending tone. Who does this asshole think he is? He might be a little attractive. Okay, a lot, whatever. But that doesn't give him the right to treat me like the dirt under his shoes. I wasn't born for that position. I adopt my half-mocking, half-snobby tone that I usually use when talking to Brianna. Hello? You're the one who's pinning me to the ground. Because you're wrapping your leg around mine. I lift my head and search around until my abdomen aches from the half-lifted position. And sure enough, my leg is definitely looped around his. And are his muscles twitching beneath mine, or am I imagining things? Way to go, me. 1-0, Black Devils. But instead of acting like the idiot my brain is telling me to emulate, I don't release him. That's only because of the fall. Don't get ideas in your twisted head. Maybe you're the one whose head is twisted since it went straight there. He grins, showing me his perfect white teeth. And while that's considered a friendly gesture, the emptiness behind it forbids me from considering it as such. I've been well aware of Sebastian's reputation ever since I transferred here during my senior year of high school. One would have to be blind, while simultaneously living under a rock, not to recognize Senator Brian Weaver's only grandchild and Blackwood's favorite quarterback. He's the definition of a cliché, with his mesmerizing all-American looks, background, and skill. Everyone believes his grandfather is preparing him for a career in politics as soon as he's out of college, and that football is merely a stepping stone. The NFL is too small for his ambitions and his future. But that's not what I first noticed about Sebastian. It was neither who his family was, what he played, nor even what he looked like. It was always his eyes. The way they're muted, like right now, as if he's falling into a role. He plays the social game so well, I'm jealous sometimes. I wish I could fake it as convincingly as he does. I wish I could smile at people when all I want to do is hide. Let's agree to disagree. He's still smiling, but he's not attempting to conceal its fakery anymore. That's what people do when they're fed up. They let the masks fall and allow their true selves to show through. And right now, what he's projecting is entirely different from what he is. So, are you going to release me, or would you rather fuel me up some more? I move my leg with a jerk. You're the one who's doing that. Yeah. And I'm also the one who caged myself against you. Do you hear yourself? Yes, I do. And I make more sense than you. Why aren't you getting up? The empty mockery on his features slowly breaks as a gleam shines through. Didn't you say I was feeling you? Might as well go with it. Are you insane? We don't even know each other. Why does that matter? It's only a natural chemical reaction between healthy adults. Are you a fucking animal? Monster, to be more specific. The way he emphasizes the word monster sends a chill down my spine. And it's with effort that I manage to hold on to my agitation. I slap my hands on his chest to push him away, but I barely manage to move the rock-hard muscles. Get off me! Shh, I'm not done. Done with what? With you. My toes curl, and it takes everything in me not to knee him or something. I've always been bad at handling these types of advances, but especially if they're coming from someone like Sebastian. I guess the rumors are correct after all. He'd really sleep with anyone, wouldn't he? Weaver! A male voice yells, and Sebastian begrudgingly gets off of me, the loss of his body rattling me more than I care to admit. I jump to my feet, gathering my headphones and bag, thankful nothing was broken, and my attention shifts to the guy headed our way. It's Sebastian's friend, Owen, another buff football player, with darker skin and a shaved head. Sebastian, however, doesn't make a move to leave, his feral gaze zeroed in on me. Embarrassment and a feeling I can't identify grab hold of me, and I want to kick my leg in the air and run in an open field so I can breathe clean air and get rid of it. Want an autograph? I snap, then regret it. I really need to learn how to control my temper and not throw a tantrum at everything. But I guess I constantly have this feeling that everyone is out to get me, and the star quarterback is no exception. Especially with the taunting way he observes me. He smiles again in that hollow way that might be a sign his soul was recruited by the devil. I'll think about it, and let you know. Think about what? Owen wraps a hand around Sebastian's shoulder when he reaches us. What's up with you and the Asian chick? I place a hand on my hip. The Asian chick has a name, doucheface, and it's Naomi. Tell Siri to spell it out for you. And with that, I turn and leave, the echo of Sebastian's laughter following me long after he's out of earshot. By the time I get home, I think I've analyzed what happened back at the field 100 times over. Okay, that's a lie. It's been at least double that. Despite being a cheerleader, I don't actually talk to Sebastian or play house with the rest of the football team. Sure, Raina, Brianna, and the rest of the squad do, but I don't, for the simple reason that, well, they expect sex. It's not rocket science, and I'm not a whore. So why the hell did I make myself look like one when I looped my leg around his? Desperate much? No. I text Luce to ask her to call me as soon as she's done with whatever satanic rituals for shape and beauty Raina makes them do. But I know she'll be too busy for me today. Or ever, for that matter. She practically sold her soul to the devil, and Raina will make sure to keep her occupied. Our house, or Mom's pride and joy, as she likes to remind me, sits on a large piece of land in an upper-middle-class neighborhood. We even have a huge-ass garage that we barely use, and a fancy pool that Mom can show to her friends when she invites them over. She always plays the game of accept me, and it's kind of frustrating. I'm way younger than her, and I already understand that we, as minorities, just don't get accepted. At least not by most of the racists plaguing this god-forsaken town. If I had a penny for every time someone's called me exotic, or said I have such strange eyes, or that my soft black hair is so unique, I'd be as rich as my mama. She knows all that, but she just refuses to stop trying, which is both courageous and sad, I guess. Instead of going inside, I rummage through the mailbox, searching for a very familiar black envelope. Yes! I get out Akira's letter and smile as I open it. I even pause my core metal playlist. What? It means the letter is that important. Juggling the rest of the mail in one hand and my bag on my shoulder, I open the letter from my pen pal. And yeah, that sounds outdated, but his first letter got me smiling, and I needed to smile that day. So I wrote back. True, I still know next to nothing about Akira, but it's not like I'm telling him my deepest secrets or anything. It's just something that I look forward to every week. And maybe that's because I'm pathetic and he's one of just 2 people I have as friends.
Dear Naomi. Should I stop that? Starting the letter with Dear Naomi, I mean, doesn't it sound tacky to you? I was thinking about it the other day, and somehow it does to me. Anyway, now that my musings about the salutation are out of the way, I want to tell you that your story for history class is lame. You should talk about Japan and the Warring States period. You know you want to. But you can deny it. I don't care. Well, you were born in America, so you might not consider yourself wholly Japanese. But let me insist on this. Do something cool instead of that old rehearsed topic. My studies have been going well, thank you for not asking. But then again, you probably think I'm a nerd, and that studying hard is expected of nerds. Insert unflattering language here that basically means screw you if you think that way. Now, where were we? Right, my studies. I don't like what I'm doing right now, and I'm thinking about changing majors, but I don't know what I'll change to or if I'd be making the right choice. Do you ever feel like you understand nothing, and when you finally do, the doors are closed? It's like you arrive at life too late? Or is that too melodramatic? Anyway, I'm not going to bore you with my life story. Tell me about you. Are you still eating the hearts of the cheerleaders, or did you grow some balls and quit? If that happens, don't worry. You can always be my Yuki-onna. Or maybe I'm yours. Sincerely, Akira.
I smile at the dork. He always has such huge illusions about Japanese spirits and their evilness. He calls me Yuki-onna because, according to him, I resemble her with my pale skin, rosy lips, and Asian eyes that are so dark they're nearly black. He says I have the beauty of the snow woman, a ghost who roamed the mountains on stormy winter days to lure mortals and kill them. And since then, it's kind of become our inside joke. I never thought this thing with Akira, friendship as he calls it, would go this far. But I'm glad that I at least have him, even if I still don't know what he looks like. I contemplated asking for a picture. However, not only would he refuse, but it would also kill the image I already have of him. A cute guy who's definitely an otaku and talks about porn more than necessary. He's corrupted me. My feet come to a halt inside the front door of our house. It has a wide entryway into the living area that's diagonal from the kitchen. Mom stands in front of a mannequin, a pincushion on her wrist and a phone to her ear, while she pins a piece of cloth to the mannequin's chest. She might have become the CEO of Chester Couture, but she still obsesses over a mannequin at home, trying to come up with her next masterpiece. I hide Akira's letter in my bag before she lifts her head. While Mom knows I have a pen pal from Japan, I don't like her touching his letters. We talk about porn sometimes, and that's not a conversation I want her to be privy to. Honey, She motions at a glitter box, and I give it to her. I opt to go upstairs to my room and grin like an idiot at the thought of rereading Akira's letter and thinking of an equally sarcastic reply. It's a game of ours. No, wait. I'm 2 steps in, but I turn around to face Mom. She has placed the phone in her slacks pocket, putting a rare premature end to her conversation with her assistant, her lawyer, her accountant. Anyone who needs the great Riko Chester's time. She was born in Japan as Riko Sato, but she changed her last name as soon as she got American citizenship when I was a kid. Mom is a small woman, but keeps her hair long, not short like I do. And she looks like my older sister, not the woman who gave birth to me. She has flawless skin and beautiful, small features that she passed down to me, though she's paler and has more dark circles than usual lately. Her eyes are brown, but nowhere as big or as dark as mine, which I guess is a feature I got from my father, who's sort of a taboo subject in front of her. How did school go? She asks with a slight accent. Since she's first generation, she doesn't really speak with an American accent as I do, but it's not for lack of trying. I guess being born speaking in a certain way stamps you for life. I lift a shoulder. The usual. Mom reaches for her pack of cigarettes and steps back from the mannequin as she lights one, then takes a drag. How about practice? It was cool. Are you lying to me? As if I could. You'd call the dean and get all the deets. Or maybe the coach, since she was there. Do not sass me, young lady. I'm not, just making your job easy for you since, I don't know, you prefer asking others about me instead of actually attending any of the stupid games I bust my ass for. Watch your language. And it's not like I don't attend them because I don't want to. Some of us work, Naomi. Get back to it then. Nachan. My stomach flips whenever she calls me in that endearing way. It's like I'm back to being a little girl when Mom was my world. Until the red night shattered it. She approaches slowly, releasing a puff of nicotine into the air. Are you mad at me? I don't know, Mom. Maybe I am. She strokes my arm. I'm sorry. I know I'm barely around lately. But it's all for you. No, Mom. No. Don't use the excuse that it's for me. It stopped being for me after you bought this house and secured both our futures. Now it's just for you. She drops her hand, and although it's painful and I want her to comfort me again, I'm well aware that it's useless. Mom will always do what she thinks is best, not caring about what type of results that brings to my life. One day you understand it all. At least, I hope you will. She smiles with a hint of defeat. Go freshen up before delivery gets here. I ordered Italian. What's the occasion? Well, I'm secretly glad she's eating in tonight. I'm surprised she doesn't have some sort of a dinner set up somewhere with all the associates and business partners she has. Why does there have to be an occasion for me to eat with my daughter? She smiles again. But it's still with that note of defeat. Or is that sadness? I don't ponder on it long, because she kills her cigarette in an ashtray and goes back to her work. Me, however, I can't help the giddiness I feel at the thought of having dinner with her. Maybe our little family isn't beyond saving after all.
3. Sebastian. Being brought up in a certain way puts specific expectations on me. I can stand out, but not in a negative sense. I can live my life, but not where it matters. My whole existence has been mapped out ever since I was born as the senator's grandson and have had to play the role that goes with it. Maybe that's why I'm often tempted to allow my rebellious side to get the better of me. Why I sometimes let it rear its head and show the world the turbulent side of me. You know, basic rich kid problems. After practice, Owen drags me and a few other team members out for drinks with the cheerleaders. I'd rather be sleeping, but Owen would probably display my head on a stick for the world to see. I kinda need my head, and everything inside it. Besides, drinks with them is better than being trapped under the senator's and his wife's tenacious stares. Yes, they're my grandparents and the people who raised me, but I don't quite appreciate them when they barge into my apartment any chance they get, even long after I've moved out of their house. Instead of drinks, Owen goes all the way for a meal at the grill. We like this place because it belongs to Coach's brother, Chad, and he's a big fan of ours. Not only does he give us one of his private booths where we're hidden from the rest of the patrons, but he also serves us his best meals. As soon as we walk inside, accompanied by some of the cheerleaders, Chad grins and points at us. "Give it up for the Devils, ladies and gents!" Owen and the others make a show of tapping their jackets, on which the team's logo rests. The cheerleaders hoot, and the men make howling sounds. Most of the patrons clap, and endless praise and compliments shower us. "Let's win state, son! Show the Knights no mercy! See you in the NFL! Our heroes!" Yeah, that's far from the truth, but this town is too obsessed with football. It's kind of unhealthy. And yes, my thoughts remain, even as I grin, shake their hands, and take random selfies. In the span of a few minutes, I put on the show I was taught to perform when I was a kid. Always smile, always be on your best behavior. Always put on a mask. By the time we reached the stairs, I've shaken hands and taken pictures with most of the people present. Let's just say that Chad likes us as much as we like his place. Since everyone knows we hang out here, the restaurant is almost always full. He gives me a bro hug, then clutches me by the shoulders. The smell of grease and pepper comes off him in waves. "My star quarterback." Not really a star yet. "Oh, yes, you are." I grin. "I guess I'll show you this Friday." "That's the spirit, son." He gives me an encouraging slap on the back like Coach does. People in Blackwood expect one thing from me, to be efficient. It comes with the Weaver name. Those who belong to my family need to bring something to the table, whether it's grades, victories, a senatorial position, or a hotshot lawyer role like my uncle. At any rate, I need to have something to offer. After a glittery welcoming in front of the townspeople, Chad finally points us in the direction of our private booth. Brianna, the co-captain of the cheerleaders, slips her hand through my arm as she paints on her own plastic smile. Hers is so overdone, it's fucking turn off. There's an art in faking one's smile. A part of you needs to believe in it. A part of you needs to send signals to your brain that smiling is the best solution for people to leave you alone. We sit around the table, the guys already mixing and matching with the cheerleaders. There are 5 of us and about 7 cheerleaders, so Brianna and Raina sit on either side of me. But everyone knows the blonde, blue-eyed beauty captain is off the table. She's engaged to one of our teammates from high school, and although he chose to study international law in England and hasn't returned in 3 years, she still wears his ring. In a way, we're only keeping an eye on her so that no one gets close. At least Owen and the others do. I'm interested to see the stern look on her face break, even if that means she finds another man. Yes, I'm a horrible friend, but I blame it on small-town problems. As in, there's barely anything considered fun around here. And I'm not the type who can be allowed to have free time. If I do, my fucked-up tendencies will take reign, and that would just be tragic. To everyone else, not me. Owen stands up, clearing his throat, and I groan. This is heading in a direction I can see from a mile away, but if I stop him, he'll pout like a bitch and be a general douche. I kinda need my wide receiver on my side, at least until the critical game. He grabs a glass of beer and holds it high as he speaks in his dramatic tone. "I want to toast our star quarterback who gets all the praise, not cool, man, and to all the beautiful ladies who make us play like beasts. To the Devils! To the Devils!" Everyone else echoes, and I tip my glass in his direction before I take a sip. Owen finally takes his seat, but he leans into Raina's side. "Queen Bee, what are you going to do for me if we win?" She raises a brow while tracing the rim of her glass with her pink manicured nails. "What do you want?" "A BJ. If you give me that, I'll win all the games." She smirks. "Maybe if you get drafted into the NFL, Owen." "You think I won't be able to do it?" "Show me what you got then." "Oh, I will, babe. In fact, you'll love my dick so much you might dump that loser Asher for it. Maybe I will. She smiles, and unlike Brianna, it's not plastic, but it's still as fake as mine. A hypocrite does recognize a hypocrite, after all. We dig into our food. We order pasta while the cheerleaders settle for salad, as usual. While I eat and indulge in the humor, I wait for the other shoe to drop, or explode, or whatever the hell Raina does in these types of situations. There's a reason she convinced Owen to drag us all here. Don't you think it's time for another dare? She asks nonchalantly. There. The reason Raina has perfected her fake smiles and facial expressions. The real Raina hides beneath the surface and subtly toys with everyone around her. How do I know? I do the same sometimes. The difference is she does it for ambiguous reasons that don't usually benefit her. In fact, all the dares she's issued so far seem cruel, but actually end up helping her victims. In my case, I participate to get them off my back, not harm them. Unless they turn out to be annoying pests, which is when interference is necessary. Hell to the yeah! Josh, one of my teammates, exclaims. Loved playing a prank on our history teacher that one time. And I loved helping. Morgan, a cheerleader, winks and he licks his lips. We should take it up a notch, Ray, Brianna says in her slightly squeaky, hyperactive voice. Prescott, the only male cheerleader present, takes a sip of his beer. Or else it'll get boring. I can relate. But at the same time, Raina's childish dares were never my thing. She's been amping them up from high school, as if she's trying to prove a point. Still, I need to keep up appearances and pretend that I belong to their holy circle. Partly because Owen becomes really grumpy when I ruin his fun. Partly because I have no intention of being trapped in my head. That's not a very comfortable place, last I checked. I agree. We should spice things up a little. Raina meets my gaze. Are you up for it, Bastion? I leisurely finish chewing, trying to figure out why she singled me out from everyone present. It's a first, and I learned from the best to never ignore such deviation from the ordinary. However, I can't put my finger on the reason for it. Is that a yes? She insists. Hey, Queen Bee, I thought we would be sex partners. Owen pouts, hitting his chest. I have a black hole right in the middle of my heart. Pass, I say. Asher would serial kill me if I come near you. I still need my life. It's not a lie. The ever-so-calm Asher Carson turns into a violent motherfucker when it comes to Raina, and often beat up guys for merely looking at her the wrong way in high school. Even though he's currently away, if he catches wind of this, he'll barge back in as if he never left. But I'm merely using that as an excuse. The actual reason? There's no way in fuck I'd let Raina or anyone else use me as a pawn in their game. I'm a senator's son, thank you very much. We use people, not the other way around. I won't be anyone's sexual partner. Raina addresses Owen and me, but her attention doesn't waver from my face. I have a dare for you if you have the guts to take it. Yes, totally take it. Brianna strokes my arm up and down in what she believes is seductive, but is actually getting on my fucking nerves. Of course he'll take it. Owen puffs his chest. Our quarterback isn't a pussy, Josh exclaims, and everyone else from the team hoots in agreement. That seals it from my end. I can't go against it now, not when all the team members have accepted Raina's dares in the past. If anything, they thought it was a privilege to be chosen. I glare at the Barbie who's still smiling with hidden triumph. She plotted this whole thing so I'd have no choice but to oblige. What did you have in mind? I ask in the calm tone I've perfected so well. Fuck someone. Owen snorts out a laugh. What type of dare is that? Chicks drop their panties for him without him having to ask. Yeah, Ray. Josh agrees. He gets the best pussy without even trying. I raise a brow at Raina. Is that really your grand dare? Fuck someone? Not just anyone. Her smile slowly vanishes, allowing a shadow to creep in. Naomi. My smile falters at the same time as hers, and I hope she takes it as if I'm mirroring her, not something else. Images of delicate skin, huge dark brown eyes, and soft full lips come to mind. Those images play the way she stared up at me as a blush crept up her pale neck and cheeks, turning them red. The way her smart mouth retorted back at every turn, as if she did it for sport. I couldn't help picturing stuffing those beautiful lips with my dick and watch her fucking squirm. Neo... Who? Owen asks. Wait a minute. Is it that Asian chick who was making babies with Weaver on the ground today?
That's the one.
Brianna gives a foxy grin.
But she doesn't like making babies. If anything, we think she might be a virgin.
Holy wow. Owen chugs the rest of his beer. The plot fucking thickens. Josh waggles his brows. Can I have her, please? I let my utensils rest on the table. Why her?
It was random.
Raina lies through her teeth. There's nothing random about this. Everything Raina does is calculated and has reasons only she is privy to. Did she come up with this dare after she saw me with Naomi earlier?
And that bitch needs to learn a lesson.
Brianna takes a slurp of her green drink.
She thinks she's holier than thou when she's just a loser. And she always talks back,
Morgan says in a shrill, dramatic voice.
She doesn't respect those who are higher in rank than her.
I don't see why that's my problem. I pick up my utensils again and pretend to be digging into my food, even though I'm barely seeing anything through my hazy vision. No, not hazy. Red. Like fucking blood.
Is that a no, Bastion?
Raina asks.
Because I can dare any of the other guys to do it. Maybe Josh. He seems so into it.
Yes! Josh jumps up. My Japanese porn fantasy will finally come true. I lift my head, lips thinning, but I slowly release them. The only image that comes to mind is that of a beautiful petite woman who'll be destroyed to pieces by the end of this bet. And if anyone's going to be doing the destroying, it's only fair that it's me. I won't take it far, or at least that's what I tell myself. I wipe my mouth with a napkin, meeting all their gazes. I'll do it. I'll fuck Naomi.
4. Naomi. The rest of the week goes suspiciously well, aside from the usual bitchy remarks and some catfights. Okay, the catfights were my imagination. Raina will have my metaphorical balls if I fight with other cheerleaders. I tend to punch, and that's apparently a lower blow than clawing and pulling hair. The only problem is Lucy. I was right to worry. I think they converted her to the dark side, and I have to perform some sort of voodoo ritual to get her back. It's not that she's been ignoring me, but she's been keeping her distance more than usual. She doesn't give me run-on sentences just to convey the simplest things. I kill my engine in the school's parking lot. We have to cheer for the stupid devils in their important game tonight, and Raina will probably grill our asses and throw them to Brianna and Prescott to chew on if we're late. However, we need to have this conversation. Hey, Luce? Yeah? She stares at the rearview mirror as she fixes her bright pink lipstick. Her ginger hair is pulled up in a ribbon that matches the black and silver pom-poms we will be forced to use later. She also put on a ton of makeup to hide her beautiful freckles, which is a crime. But if I tell her that, she'll say I'm the only one who thinks they're beautiful. So I bite my tongue. As for myself, I'm wearing my tight cheer uniform and left my hair loose. I put on black lipstick because, hey, it goes with the Black Devil's theme. Or at least they'll think that. I face my friend. Talk to me. About what? She's still too busy with the lipstick. About why you've changed. I haven't changed. Yes, you have. You're not yourself since you became a member of Raina's secret society club that's rumored to be best buddies with Satan. The lipstick remains suspended in midair as she stares at me. Just because you hate Raina and the squad doesn't mean I do too. I thought we agreed on that now. We did. You can worship at our fake altar with blinding glitter all you want, but I just feel like you're not the same. I am. Are you sure? sure you're not jealous? Of Queen Bee and her satanic glitter altar? No way. She laughs, hitting my shoulder with hers. You're so funny. Objection, sarcastic. Funny, she repeats. I wish the others knew about your sense of humor. So they'd choke on it? I gasp in mock reaction. I didn't know you had such a strong grudge against them, Luce. Yeah, well, Bree still says hurtful things with no filter. Then she'll be the first basic bitch to choke on my sense of humor. Got it. I'm going to need to up the dosage with that one. I raise a brow. What about Prescott? She tightens her hold on her lipstick, even though she's already done with it. What about him? You just stuttered, Luce. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. If his name alone makes you nervous, how about all those rendezvous at the grill? Those weren't rendezvous. We went with this squad and the football team. My lips twitch at the mention of the latter. Since that incident with their stupid quarterback, all of them hoot and howl whenever I'm in their vicinity. They all pay attention to me, except for the asshole himself. Not that I want him to, and I'm totally not thinking about his hard body pressed up against mine at night. Or during the day, when I sneak peeks at him while he's practicing. Okay, this isn't the time for Sebastian fantasies. Wait. No, they're not fantasies. Just unwanted thoughts. Lie all you want, Luce, but all I see is your heart eyes when you look at Prescott. Stop it! She blushes a deep shade of pink as she stares at her nails. He doesn't even know I exist. Of course he does. And no, he's totally not gay like doucheface Peter has been insinuating in locker room talk. I know that. How do you know that? I just do. But the fact remains, I'm a nobody to him. Then it's his fucking loss, not yours. She stares at me from beneath her lashes and smiles a little. How do you do it now? Do what? Remain so unaffected, as if the world doesn't deserve your time. Because it doesn't. The less you care, the less you're attached, and the freer your mind is. But wouldn't you end up, I don't know, alone? Hey, rude! What's wrong with being alone? It's better than kissing someone's ass and sucking someone else's junk. I hope you fall in love one day. First of all, how dare you? Second of all, I'll leave all that Hallmarky shit to you. It can be HBO level, not Hallmarky. She winks, and we both snort in laughter before we get out. I take a sip of my Red Bull. So I know it's not healthy and all that jazz, but I need the extra energy before every performance. If our own Queen Bee or the coach found out, they'd probably tell Mom. And that would lead to drama that I don't need in my fragile relationship with her. I throw the can in the trash before we go through the stadium's rear exit and toward the squad's locker room. It's a buzz of motions and people backstage. Some of the most dramatic cheerleaders, Brianna included, of course, are singing or murmuring some voodoo shit. Raina is stretching her long leg over Prescott's shoulder as he flexes his arm. He's good-looking with a tall, muscular body. His olive skin and light blue eyes, coupled with his black hair and thick brows, give him a Middle Eastern look that made Luce fall head over heels. I think her crush started during high school, but she hid it so well that I only found out about it recently, when I caught her writing in her journal about dreaming to make babies with him. When I confronted her about it and told her to confess to him, the chicken shit actually gathered her courage and almost did it. But then, during lunch one day, Peter was egging Prescott on about if he was gay. But he said he just wasn't interested in dating. Needless to say, my best friend went back to her small bubble and refused to even broach the subject again. Luce is almost as good at hiding as I am. Almost. The only difference is that I don't get caught, and I sure as hell don't keep a journal. Unless my letters to Akira can be considered one. Lucy lowers her head at the seam between Raina and Prescott and goes to stretch. He doesn't like her, I whisper as I stand beside her. I know that. I mean, imagine our own Queen Bee actually interested in anyone but herself. Wouldn't that be a miracle? No, she hisses, so I'll stop. Raina has a fiancé. She really is starstruck by our captain. A presence creeps up on me, and when I look up, I meet Brianna's malicious stare. If it isn't the immigrant, aren't you late? I roll my eyes. I was born here. Oh, so your mommy is the immigrant. It's hard to keep track with all of you people coming here. I twist my lips, but I keep them closed, because anything I say right now will just be taken the wrong way. So I try to move past her. Bree extends her arm. I'm not done talking. Well, I am. If you have anything else to say, you can take it and shove it up your racist, xenophobic ass. Xena what? Oh, I'm sorry. Was that word too difficult for you? Google it, or ask your daddy to give more money to the dean so he'll explain it to you after I file a racial discrimination report. And with that, I turn to leave. I'm not stupid. Brianna's shrill voice echoes from behind me. Yeah, sure. I believe you. I mock without facing her. Good luck convincing everyone else. Slut. After tonight, you won't be running your mouth anymore. I stop and turn around. At the same time, Raina and Prescott, who are watching the show with everyone else, close in on Bree. The co-captain stares at her own Lucifer, Raina, and her lips tremble with clear frustration. She called me stupid. Raina shakes her head, and just like that, the subject is dropped as if it never happened. I stare at them, trying to decipher what just transpired. But Raina claps her hands, calling everyone's attention. Time to go out there and show them what the devils are all about. No one is allowed to breathe until the end of the game. No mistakes, no slouching, and no slacking. She puts her hand in the middle and everyone else follows suit, Luce and I included. Raina shouts, Black! Devils! We all shout in return before we break the circle. Then we're out there cheering in front of over 30,000 spectators who came to watch the classic rivals go at each other. Friday night lights are blinding, and the entire fan area is black and white as balloons of the same colors fly toward the sky. Loud pop music blares in the air as the male cheerleaders breakdance. Soon after, we line up midfield. The fans go crazy with our opening routine, all precise and perfect like Raina wants. And then she ends it at the top of the pyramid, a huge smile on her lips, as fireworks explode behind us like we're at some concert. Me? I'd rather be listening to my rock music in peace, thank you very much. But, hey, on the bright side, Raina will lay off our asses after this performance. Silver fucking linings. After we're done with our routine, we jump and twirl to the entrance where the players are coming out. Our mascot, a panda with a pitchfork, is fighting with the Knights mascot, some sort of a horse. The Knights come out among their cheerleaders first, and then it's our team's turn. They bulldoze through the large banner with the team's logo on it, led by number 10, the quarterback, and 17, the wide receiver. They're all dressed in their black and white uniforms and helmets, and black lines are smeared under their eyes. I swallow, pretending the sweat that's gathering between my brows is due to exhaustion, and not the fact that I'm focusing way too hard on a certain number 10. A lot of hollering and howling comes from the players, their battle cries filling the air. But not Sebastian. A haze covers his intense eyes, visible through the opening in his helmet. It's like he's in a different zone, and no one can reach him. Or touch him. This side of him has always hinted at what he is more so than the image he shoves on everyone so that they believe he's the good senator's grandson. There's nothing good here. His gaze zeroes in on me. It's only for a fraction of a second, but he pierces me down as if I'm the game he's intent on conquering tonight. His lips curl at the side, and I swear I see what resembles a wolfish smirk before his eyes tactfully slip from mine. I resist the urge to look behind me in case he was having that eye contact voodoo with someone else. But somewhere deep down, I know. I just know it was directed at me. What the hell? We go back to the sidelines to cheer during the game, and while I usually hate this part, Tonight's game is actually intense. The Knights aren't letting up, and our team barely keeps a lead. The fans go wild when Owen scores. Prescott throws both Raina, then Brianna in the air as a form of celebration. We stay on our toes, cheering and doing our halftime routine. It's exhausting, but the adrenaline runs wild among us. The energy wafting off the field in waves is both intoxicating and addictive. Near the end of the game, we're down, but there's a chance to turn the tables and win. Sebastian passes the ball to Owen, who tosses it back once the quarterback is clear. Then the Devils' captain runs in a blur of motion as if he's weightless. The cheers grow louder and louder, and I find myself clenching my fists in the stupid pom-poms. One of the Knights players tries to tackle Sebastian to the ground, and he loses his footing with a collective, "Oh!" coming from the crowd. But before the others pile up on him, he slips from under the player and sprints at full speed until he scores. The crowd and the cheerleaders go crazy, and even our mascot dances in the face of the other one. The coach shouts at the top of his lungs as the players bury Sebastian underneath them. It's a myriad of celebration and dancing and loud music. My heart thumps, and I barely keep up with the routine. Soon after, the time runs out and the referees signal the end of the game. The Devils carry Sebastian on their shoulders, and several media outlets try to land an exclusive interview with the star of the night. That's when I realized there are tears in my eyes. I got so excited that I didn't notice I was that invested in this stupid game. I wipe them with the back of my hand because if anyone accuses me of crying, I'll throat stab them. And I'm totally not going to ogle the quarterback tonight. A reporter is asking Sebastian about the reason behind his energy as we pass behind them, heading to our locker room. It happens so fast, I don't even see it coming. One moment I'm walking, and the next, Sebastian turns around, grabs me by the waist, and tugs me against him. "The reason is her," he says, and then his lips meet mine. 5. Naomi. Sebastian is kissing me. As in, his lips are on mine. His mouth is mashed to my agape one. It feels different than what I've imagined. I thought his lips would be harsh, maybe made of granite like the rest of him. But they're surprisingly soft. Tender, even. At least at first. I'm so caught off guard that I do the one thing I haven't done since I was a little girl, and blood flowed all around me. I remain still. If anything, I go limp against him as he nibbles on my bottom lip, demanding access into my mouth. And it's a flat-out demand, as if he has the right to kiss me, and has for an eternity. The hotness of his body pressed to mine and the strong scent of his cologne are dizzying. And not in a good way, but in more of an I'm losing control and slipping through a loophole kind of way. When I keep my mouth clamped shut, he bites down on the sensitive flesh of my lip. The sharp movement nearly rips the skin and draws my blood so he can suck on it. Feast on it. Assault it. I open with a start, in equal measure due to his actions and my reaction. Sebastian doesn't slow down, doesn't take a breather, and he uses the chance to plunge his tongue inside. If I thought his lips were tender, I'd take it all back. They're as merciless as the rest of him. He kisses like he plays, raising through my defenses, seizing the opportunity and scoring over and over. He doesn't only kiss, he's out to devour me, to paint black stars in the midst of the bright white lights. His tongue ravages my tender one until no air is allowed into my burning lungs, until I'm wheezing, silently begging and imploring. For what? I have no clue. In just a fraction of a second, his hold on my waist is the only thing keeping me standing. It's like a foreign entity has possessed my body, and I'm caught in a trance, partly because I want to end it, and partly because I don't ever want this to be over. The two facets clash and claw at each other, creating a suffocating tension in the confines of my shriveling heart. I've never been touched like this, as if I could be swallowed whole any second. As if his large, strong hands could hold my face and other parts of me hostage. as if his body could easily overpower mine and force me to submit. And the scariest part isn't the confusion that accompanies those thoughts. It's the sharp tingles between my legs. It's the dipping of my stomach that matches his maddening rhythm. It feels like hours have passed when he releases my lips, a small trail of saliva sticking between us as he pulls back. A strange sound echoes in the air, and I realize it's mine. His tropical eyes cage me for the second time tonight, only this time, the mask he always wears doesn't hide the fire in them. Like fireworks. Or maybe a volcano. Either way, it's at the point of eruption, and I don't want to be there when it happens. I don't want to witness the moment when the perfect star actually shows to the world that he's not so perfect after all. And yet, I'm held prisoner by the power of his presence, entranced by the smallest details. Like the way sweat trickles down the side of his face, giving him the aura of a warrior. The way the black line shadows the color of his eyes. Or how his spicy scent mixes with sweat in a masculine kind of way. Even the imperfection of his damp hair that haphazardly falls across his forehead looks flawless. Sebastian swiftly shifts his attention to the side, and that's when I'm struck by the fact that he just kissed me on television. Fuck. The reporter is saying something, but it filters through my buzzing ears, not only because embarrassment is whirling through me, but more due to the fact that I'm caught off guard, that I didn't see the situation coming and couldn't act accordingly. Sebastian doesn't let me go, and I don't struggle. 1, I'm still in some sort of a haze. 2, it'd draw more unwanted attention to myself. 3, it's fruitless to compare his strength to mine. As I wait for the reporter to go away, I can't help inhaling his scent into my starved lungs. There's a high note of bergamot, pepper, and amber. Mixed with sweat from the game, he smells like a fighter. I can't help imagining him crushing someone in his path. Or me. My core clenches at the thought, and I quickly shove it back to where it came from. But it doesn't completely go away. It remains there, lingering, biding its time and taunting me with endless options. And now, I think I'm in serious trouble because this scent? Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to erase it from my memories anytime soon. The reporter finally leaves with a knowing smirk in our direction, but Sebastian's grip around my waist doesn't ease. If anything, he tightens it further until I wince. What the hell do you think you're doing? I hiss, finally snapping out of whatever spell his scent just cast on me. His eyes twinkle under the lights, as if he's finding pleasure in whatever show he's putting on. Which part? Kissing you? Or doing it publicly? Both. Why? You'd rather I did it in private? His thumb strokes the bare skin above my skirt, grazing the line of my belly. A tender sensation blossoms at the bottom of my stomach with each caress. I can take care of that. I don't want you to take care of anything except for leaving me the hell alone. I slam both hands on his chest to push him away, but he might as well be a buffalo. A dangerous one with boundary issues, because he takes that as an invitation to step further into my space. His chest creates friction against my breasts that I want to hate, but I can't help the increasing tightness in my stomach. We're separated by his football gear and my sports bra and top, and yet it's like his naked skin is rubbing against my nipples, stimulating them, piquing them, and crossing the line of no return. But I don't want to. The words leave his sinfully proportioned lips with a seductive tilt. What do you mean you don't want to? I don't want to let you go, Naomi. I rather like it here, just like this. Well, I don't. Is lying a defense mechanism of yours? Leave me alone before you meet my actual defense mechanism. And what is that? I'd rather show you. I lift my knee to hit him in the balls, but his reflex is faster than mine. His large palm nearly engulfs my thigh, and he loops it around his and positions it in a way that seems as if I'm humping him in public. If my attempted attack phases him, he doesn't show it as he smiles in that fake-ass way, like some fancy politician in front of cameras. Now, Naomi, if we're going to have a healthy relationship, there shouldn't be any violence present. Unless it's the type of violence we both agree on. A shudder grips me at the sinister undertones of his words, and although I don't really understand what they mean, an unfamiliar part of me rises to the surface with a force that startles the shit out of me. It takes me a few seconds to get my bearings. Who said I want any relationship with you? You should. I recommend it. I scoff, trying to squirm, to no avail again. Of course you would. I'm rich, handsome, and a star. Oh, I also come from a prestigious family. What's there not to like about me? Everything you just mentioned. Oh, and your arrogance is the cherry on top. Sorry to crash it to the ground, but I don't do douchebags. Better luck next time. He chuckles, to sound surprisingly carefree compared to his demeanor. You are a funny one. No, I'm kinda bitchy. Ask your besties, Raina and Brianna, and they'll tell you the deets. I'd rather ask you. Dinner tomorrow? In the funeral home before they cremate you? Or just somewhere nice, where we don't have to worry about dead people. He speaks calmly, a smirk tugging his lips, and appearing completely oblivious to my sense of sarcasm that usually works in shooing people away. I'm not sure if you got the memo, but I just insinuated that I'm not interested in you. No, you insinuated that I'm arrogant, and that you hate all the qualities I mentioned about myself. Okay then, I'm telling you now that I'm not interested for the reasons mentioned above. So let's forget about them. What? Forget about the background and who I am. Do you have any objections otherwise? I can't just forget them. You can pretend to. Doesn't work that way. Your name and face and position in the college are what defines you. His jaw clenches. And what defines you, Naomi? You tell me. Aren't you the one who forced a kiss on me, then wanted to take me out to dinner like some doting dick? We'd never properly spoken before you slammed me to the ground a few days ago, so I'm free to believe you're playing me. Or maybe I'm just interested in you. Oh, please. Name one thing you know about me. He remains silent. You have nothing? Figured as much. Go play this game on someone else, because I don't have the time. You hate being a cheerleader, and throw every tantrum under the sun to be kicked off the squad. However, the dean and the coach keep you on because of the checks your mommy writes to the college. You were raised by a single mother of Japanese origins, and you have a tendency toward passive aggressiveness, and straight-out aggressiveness when your race is brought up. You use sarcasm and self-deprecation as a defense mechanism, but you don't react well when those tactics are directed at you. You barely smile because you like being angry at the world and everyone in it, and prefer to be an asocial weirdo instead of putting on a mask. You sometimes wear black framed glasses in class that make you look like an adorable nerd. Oh, and you listen to hard rock at a volume that will damage your ears in the future. My lips part as I stare up at him. There's no way he'd be able to know all of that about me. Not when we barely had any contact. Hell, I doubt he remembers the first time we met officially, or unofficially, or whatever. So, he grins. How did I do? Are you waiting for a score? If so, it's an F. Lying again, even though you're clearly impressed. Oh, and you're slightly trembling right now. I go still against him, cursing my involuntary body reactions. Now I know what you truly are, he says. And what is that? Tsundere. What? It means someone who's hot and cold, violent on the outside despite being soft on the inside. I know what tsundere means, and I'm not a damn anime character. I'll confirm that during dinner tomorrow. He lifts my hand to his mouth and brushes his lips on my skin that instantly turns red. I've always praised myself for being above having emotions, or at least not showing them. But right now it seems as if I'm an open book in front of Sebastian. He finally releases me, his hard, warm body leaving mine as he turns around, then strides away. I won't be there, I shout after him. See you tomorrow, tsundere. He calls back without looking at me. I'm left there fuming and boiling with 1,000 different emotions that I can't contain. The most prominent of all, strange arousal. The type that feels wrong and right at the same time. 6. Naomi. My feet are wobbly as I head to the parking lot. The chaos and the endless sounds from the stadium buzz at the back of my head with the continuity of a humming earthquake. I slouch against the door of my car, hand trembling as I open it. Once I'm inside, I clutch the steering wheel in a white-knuckled grip, my blank stare projected on the half-empty parking lot. Did that just happen? With Sebastian, no less? Yeah, fine, so I kind of had some sort of an unhealthy fixation on him for as long as I've known him. I blame my younger, immature teenage hormones. But I've never acted on it, never looked at him, at least not when he was paying attention, flirted with him, or showed my interest. Because unlike the idiot teenager I was, I now realize someone like Sebastian Weaver isn't meant for me. It's not that he's out of my league, but he's the shallow type. Hello, quarterback and rich and comes from a line of politicians. I'm shallow, too, for actually allowing him to prick my black heart once upon a time. It was a single prick, like a needle that you barely feel. But just like a needle, it's already spread a chemical inside, and now I can't purge him out of my bloodstream. Actually, I can. I was waiting for the end of college so we could take different routes in life. He'll be the successor in a line of politicians, or get drafted into the NFL, and I'll move to Japan to bug the hell out of Akira, then convince him to come here so we can plot chaos. Point is, Sebastian was never supposed to notice me. Not when he has countless girls, cheerleaders included, making voodoo dolls to gain a sliver of his attention. But he didn't kiss them on TV. He didn't grab them and restrain them and imprison them against his weapon of a body. I glide the pads of my fingers over the bruised plush of my lips, and a sudden shiver jolts my spine. Crashing images invade my mind, images of his naked torso flattening against mine as his tongue claimed me and his strong hands drew me closer. My phone buzzes in my bag, and I release my lips with a start, then sigh when I find a text from my best friend. Lucy, want to hang out with us at Reina's? Naomi, I'd rather worship at Satan's actual altar. Lucy, come on now. Everyone will be there to celebrate the win. Everyone including Sebastian. I shake my head. Why does that matter? Naomi, one more reason why I shouldn't be there. Lucy, but it'll be fun. Naomi, my idea of fun is ruining theirs, so I doubt they want me there. Go party and flirt with Prescott, Luce. She sends back a Japanese crying emoji, and I grin. Ever since I exposed my nerdy side and introduced her to them, they're all she uses now. I'm about to hide my phone when it lights up with a call from an unknown number. My hand trembles even though I have a clue of who it could be. Sucking in a deep breath, I answer. Hello? Ms. Naomi Chester? That's me. This is Private Investigator Collins. You called my assistant earlier today to schedule an appointment. Yes. Do you have time now? Now? If that's not possible, we can meet on Monday. But from what you told my assistant, it's urgent. It is. I look at my watch, then sigh. Let's meet now. I'd rather not go to your agency and leave a trail that Mom can follow. I understand. Do you know the diner called Tracy's that's located opposite the gas station? Yes. I'll be there in half an hour. See you then, Miss Chester. The line goes dead, but it takes me a few seconds to lower my hand. Reaching into my bag, I pull out an oversized hoodie, then put it on so that it covers my cheer uniform. It still has the Black Devils logo on the front, but it's better than going out to meet a PI, dressed like a high school girl with a crush on the most popular guy. With a sigh, I blast Rammstein from my car's stereo and start driving to the intended location. Several vehicles honk and college students dance around campus in celebration of the win. So I opt to take a different route, one that's more deserted. That's when I notice something's wrong. I've taken this road several times before, mainly when there are busy events at campus, like tonight. But this is the first time that it's been almost completely dark, except for a few lights scattered far apart. I'm mainly relying on my headlights as I drive down the road parallel to Blackwood's famous forest. One where mobsters meet and bodies are found. They're mostly rumors, but I believe the shit out of them in this pitch blackness that resembles a scene from one of my favorite true crime shows. A faint light catches my attention in the rearview mirror, and I squint. It's not as strong as my headlights, and the driver of what looks like a dark-colored van isn't attempting to change lanes, even though I'm driving slow and there's an empty lane on my left. It could be the darkness or the forest surrounding me from both sides, but my level of paranoia shoots up like a vengeful bitch. I step on the gas to speed up, and the van behind me matches my pace. Holy Jesus and all the angels. They're following me. This isn't me actually losing my mind and being overdramatic. There's a dark van with dim headlights matching my speed and not changing lanes. I reason with my mind that it could be an older person who's not familiar with Blackwood's roads. But in what world do old people drive black vans that are made for sinister purposes? My head fills with images of kidnapped girls and sex trafficking and... Holy shit, I think I'm going to throw up. The high volume of the music drums in my head in sync with my beating heart, and I put it on pause. I really don't want my beloved metal associated with the moment of my kidnapping. I hit the gas, propelling the car to a maddening speed, not caring that my vision is restricted and I could slam into anything. I swerve the car to the other lane, and sure enough, the van follows. Okay, kidnapper dudes, I'm not one to be messed with. If they knew me even a little, they wouldn't dare to come near me. I'd fight to the death. Or at least that's the pep talk I give myself. The actual reality, though, I might not be able to get a chance to fight. I keep stealing a look at the van every now and then, my heart thundering and my hands sweaty. My legs shake, and I force them to remain still, or I'll cause my own demise. It doesn't take me long to arrive at the gas station, across from which there's an old diner. The car is still on my tail, and now that there's more light, I notice that it's all black. Even its windows are tinted, blocking my view of who's inside. They're really kidnappers. My gaze strays to my surroundings, trying to find anyone to ask for help. The police station is far from here, and if I drive there, I have a feeling they'll make their move before I can reach it. In my frantic search, my eyes lock on a man exiting his car in front of the diner. The PI. I signal at him with my lights, and he turns around. Though I can't make out his features, he's tall, sporting a black shirt and slacks to perfection. He nods at me, and I rev the vehicle toward him in my hasty attempt to reach him. I pull my car to a screeching halt behind his and stare at the rearview mirror, my lips parting. There's no one. The van that followed me through the forest road to here isn't there. I blink a few times, and sure enough, it's really not there and has vanished as if it never existed. A knock sounds on my window, and I flinch before recognizing the PI's build. With a deep breath, I pull myself together, gather my bag with a shaking hand, and step out of the car. I get my first good look at the PI, and he's nothing like I expected. First of all, he's Asian like me and has strong, charismatic features. His eyes are black and piercing, and his double eyelids, a quality rare to those of us of Western Asian heritage, add a drooping quality to his stare. His face is harsh and cut with a nose that's as naturally high as his cheekbones. Not only that, but he has long, thick hair the color of ink. It's currently tied in a low ponytail, but if it were loose, it'd reach his shoulders. He sounded young on the phone, but I never thought he'd be this young. I expected someone in his 40s or 50s, but he barely looks 30. Miss Chester? He asks with a flawless American accent as he offers his hand. I shake it firmly. Yeah. Stop ogling the man now. It must be the chase from earlier that messed with my mind. He motions at the diner's door. Are you coming in? Sure. I breathe deeply before I follow him inside. Tracy's barely has any patrons, despite it being a Friday night. Partly because this town's football crazies celebrate at the grill, and partly because this restaurant barely functions. Its decor is reminiscent of the 90s pictures I've seen in Mom's albums, and the black leather of the booths is chapped in places. The tables have some doodling, like what's found on high school desks, and the lighting is hardly there. The waitress, a middle-aged woman with killer eyebrows, leads us to a booth at the back. The PI orders authorized, without checking the menu. Huh, they have that here? That dish reminds me of my childhood when Mom used to cook it for us all the time. Just soda for me, I tell the waitress. Right away, hon. She hums, the sound echoing in the distance as she walks away. I see why you were reluctant about meeting tonight, the PI says, and at my bemused expression, he motions at my hoodie. Black devils. No, believe me, I don't care about those douche faces. I just wear their hoodies because we get them for free on campus. You sure as hell cared when Sebastian scored tonight. Get out of my head. I take a sip of my water and smile at the PI. Should I call you Mr. Collins? That would make me feel like an old man. Kai is fine. Jeez, beautiful people's names are as mesmerizing as they are. Nice to meet you, Kai. Is that Japanese? Yes. Wow, what a coincidence. I'm of Japanese heritage too, at least from my mom's side. How do you write Kai in kanji? The character of ocean. That's so cool. Mine is written with the characters of honest and beautiful. His onyx eyes soften with a smile. So, what did you want to talk about, Ms. Chester? Just Naomi. Ms. Chester is Mom in my head. What's your request for me, Naomi? I interlink my fingers, then release them and swallow more water, letting the cool liquid soothe my throat. Talking to a complete stranger about this is harder than I thought. I want to find my father. I blurt the last part. When was the last time you saw him? I've never seen him. My voice is barely above a whisper. I was born to a single mother and never met my father. The confession hangs between us in the thick air, but before Kai can say anything, the waitress returns with our orders. I clear my throat to release the knot that's formed there. I always feel like the rejected little girl on Father's Day at school whenever I talk or think about my father. Stupidly, I know he could be way worse than what I painted him to be in my girlhood dreams, but the need to find him has never lessened. In fact, it kept growing over the years until I could no longer ignore it. The waitress disappears with another smile. Kai cuts his omurice in half and starts eating with leisurely finesse. The way he picks portions and chews is so refined and elegant that I feel a strange satisfaction just watching him swallow his food. What do you know about your father? Mom refuses to tell me anything except that we're better off without him. I assume you disagree. Of course I do, or else I wouldn't be here. He swallows another bite and meets my gaze. He never speaks with food in his mouth, and I appreciate that. Wouldn't it be easier to ask your mother about his whereabouts, instead of wasting your money on me? If that were an option, I would have done it. Are you going to help me? Or should I search for someone else to give my money to? Very well. He places his utensils on the table and wipes his mouth, and that's when I notice he's finished his entire meal. I need something to start with. Was he married to your mother? No. Is he American? Japanese? I don't know, but I think American. Why? Because Mom insisted on giving birth to me here. She could have left him behind in Japan. I rummage through my bag and retrieve a picture I stole from Mom's secret drawer, the only picture she has of my father. My fingers are unsteady as I slide it across the table. Kai's inquisitive eyes study it carefully. The date on the back is a few years before I was born. It's one of the few times I've seen Mom laughing with so much freedom, her head tipped back as she holds on to a man's arm. Her hair was longer at the time, and her pink dress with provocative lace at the top. The man is in a striped suit and has his arm around her waist, but his most important feature, his face, has been burned with a cigarette. leaving a hole in the picture. After I found this frozen memento a few weeks ago, I had to do something about it. There's no way I can keep entertaining the fantasy of finding my father without taking action. Kai's attention slides from the picture to me. Why do you believe this person to be your father? Mom kept all her pictures of her old friends, whether male or female, intact, except for this one. She also hid it in a secret box that she shoved in the attic. What makes you think he's American? I tap the background of the picture. They're leaning against a bar, but behind them, through the hazy window, there's a Las Vegas sign and a blurred license plate. That? You're merely speculating. No, I'm not. Mom wouldn't have come to the States or kept his picture for no reason. Burned picture. It still counts. The fact that she burned it means it has value, even if it's negative. I'll see what I can find. I perk up, shoulders straightening. You can find him? If there's anyone who can do that, it's me. A trembling smile curves my lips. Does this mean I can finally meet the mystery man who contributed to my existence?
7. Sebastian. How does someone get used to depravity? Does it help if it has flowed in our blood since the beginning of time, or that every generation had done its best to deepen its impact? The answer is no, it doesn't. No, it shouldn't. But who am I to start anarchy against the same system that made me? The system that saved me from the claws of death and hasn't shoved me back in its path like it did my parents. Dad tried to escape the system, to start anew without the shadow of the Weaver name. But look where that led him. On the steps of hell. Don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure each leader of the Weaver clan has made a deal with the devil sometime in their lives, so there's no doubt that we'll all end up in some sort of hellhole. But as Grandpa says, our sins don't catch up to us today. Speaking of which, we're having a family dinner tonight, one I need to escape from early for my date with Naomi. The thought of her ignites me with a hot, fiery spark. It shouldn't, not with everything I have planned, but fuck me if my dick understands logic. All that sucker has been thinking about since her warm stomach rubbed against him is ways to find himself in her mouth or between her legs. Or shoved deep in her ass. The kiss shouldn't have happened yesterday. It was supposed to be a peck, a pretense. But then my mouth found hers and a completely different need emerged out of nowhere. My tongue was only interested in feasting on her warm heat and engraving myself in it with a roughness she'd forever remember. Soon enough we were speaking an identical language only the two of us could recognize. She can deny it all she likes, but there was something between us last night. Something beyond the crowd and football and cheering. Something beyond normal. I saw it in her inquisitive eyes, and I know she felt it in my touch. Why did I let her feel it? Fuck if I know. Could be because I enjoyed seeing her defenses crumble one by one, or witnessing the flutter in her thick lashes and the tremble in her lips, or sucking her fucking taste that I can't chase away. All I know is that I'm in the mood for more. I can't remember the last time I was in the mood for anything except keeping the cycle going. In order to break it, I need to escape the Weaver curse, and I guess that's not going to happen anytime soon, which is why I'm here. My grandparents' extravagant mansion is located in the fanciest upper-class neighborhood in Blackwood. In fact, only the mayor and a few high-profile politicians live in the same area, and it's resident only. Not only does it take up more space than it should, but it's also 3 stories high with tall white fences and lights shining in the night that can be seen from a mile away. I park my Tesla in the area near the garage and spy for the Mercedes that belongs to my only ally in the family. However, I find nothing. One of the staff smiles as she opens the door, and I grin back before I kiss her cheek. Lisa, how are you? How is Pedro? Excellent, sir. Her smile widens as she speaks with a slight Spanish accent. He's grown and has been looking up to you. He didn't sleep until he watched the game last night. Poor kid, looking up to a fraud. My smile, however, remains in place as I reach in my back pocket and produce 2 tickets. Give him these and tell him I'll get him my shirt next game.
Oh, sir.
Her eyes water.
Thank you so much. This will make his week.
At least that's one of us. My old folks inside?
Yes,
she whispers.
You are late, sir, and so is Mr. Nathaniel.
I don't blame him. If I didn't want to intentionally piss my grandparents off, I would have used the same tactic myself. The bell rings again, and I beat Lisa to it. My Uncle Nathaniel Weaver stands at the door in his sharp suit and with his clean-cut look that he uses to intimidate the hell out of anyone in or outside of the courtroom. Nephew! He opens his arms, apparently not worried about the bottle of wine in his left hand. Nate! We clasp each other in a bro hug, and he pulls back to offer me one of his rare smiles. Congrats on the win yesterday. I watched it with my colleagues, and now they're bugging me about autographs. No, sorry, that comes with a price, Uncle. Don't call me that, it makes me feel ancient. You are ancient. What are you, 35? 31, rascal. He gives me the middle finger behind Lisa's back as we step inside. Ready for battle? Always am. The interior of the Weaver mansion is as extravagant as the exterior, if not more. Due to my grandparents' expensive tastes, it's full of rare finds, auctioned paintings, and exotic rugs. The heads of a few dead animals hang in the entrance area as a showcase of Grandpa's love for hunting. When I was younger, I believed they were spirits that would come for us one day. In a different world, that might have been true, but now it's just another reminder of what a heartless bunch we are. As soon as Nate and I step into the dining room, it's like we're in the midst of a chess game. The king is the man sitting at the head of the table. Brian Weaver. Being in his early 60s doesn't take anything from his composed demeanor and sharp, piercing eyes that aren't only befitting of a politician, but also of a Weaver. The Queen is the woman sitting on his right, wearing a soft smile. Deborah Weaver is the definition of the saying, behind every great man is a great woman. She didn't only fight tooth and nail for his political career, but she was also as ruthless about it as he was. At least, behind closed doors. On the outside, people can only see a soft woman with golden blonde hair and a queen-like posture and wardrobe. Uncle kisses her cheek first, and I follow suit before we nod at Grandpa, then take our seats on his right. Soon after, the cook brings in some sort of ham casserole that I don't recognize. Grandpa is all about meat, although his doctor says it's not good for his health in the long term. You're late, Grandma chastises, but it sounds lovable, worried even, when she's in fact mentally checking a strike against us. Only because I was looking for your favorite wine, Mom. Nate motions at the bottle he placed at her side. She gives him a look before directing her hawk-like stare at me. What's your excuse? I have none. I just woke up late because of the game last night. I grin. We won, Grandpa. As you should have. It's a given, unlike the show you put on camera. His stern expression doesn't change as he chews on his ham. Brian. Grandma reaches her hand out and he taps it reassuringly. Then she offers me her pressed smile. Who was she, darling? I swallowed down my mouthful of food, letting the slightly greasy taste settle in my stomach. I've been raised by these people since I was 6. 15 years later, and I still feel like I'm a subject of scrutinization. However, Nate taught me the best way to win over my grandparents. Tell them what they want to hear. She's no one. I take a sip of wine, even though I dislike the stuff. Just a ruse of a moment. Grandpa halts eating. You want me to believe that you'd do such a thing? He's at college and a star quarterback, Nate speaks while cutting his steak. Kids his age do such things all the time. Thank you, Nate. Not my grandson. Grandpa's voice hardens as his entire focus zeroes in on me. You're a Weaver, and you'll act as such. The family's future relies on you now that your uncle didn't choose politics. Slick, Dad. But in case you haven't noticed, not everyone likes politics. Ever thought about asking Sebastian what he wants to do? You took away his right to decide that when you chose to work for strangers instead of following in my footsteps. If you mean screwing people over to get to the top, then no thanks. I have no intention of following in your blood-stained footsteps. Those blood-stained footsteps put a roof over your head and gave you the name you don't deserve, you ungrateful brat. Nate opens his mouth to retort, but Grandma clinks her fork on the plate loud enough that everyone's attention slides to her.
Now, this is supposed to be a peaceful family dinner, not a place for throwing jabs.
Nate grunts as he goes back to eating, but Grandpa ignores his beloved meat and fixes me with his furious stare. No such stunts are allowed in the future. Got it? Yes, I say, the only thing I'm allowed to under the circumstances. Grandpa is right. By choosing law over politics, Nate took away my right to live my life. Now everything needs to go per Brian and Deborah Weaver's plan. After all, they didn't raise the offspring of the son they disowned for the prettiness of my eyes. I'm here because I serve a role in the line of this family. The NFL? In my dreams. And if I had an actual dream, they'd turn that into a nightmare if they caught whiff of it. That's why I have to keep up pretenses and wear a constant mask. If I like something, they should never, under no circumstances, find out about it. If I covet anything, I need to do my hardest to keep it hidden. Otherwise, they'll smash it to pieces just to keep me under their influence. Sometimes I resent Nate for escaping this fate and intentionally or unintentionally shoving me in it. But at the same time, I'm well aware I would have done the same if I were in his shoes. Survival of the fittest is a motto in this family, one that Dad lost.
Is she from class?
Grandma picks back up the conversation nonchalantly, almost as if she's talking about the weather when she's, in fact, fishing for any change in my demeanor. No, I pour myself a glass of water.
She looked like a cheerleader.
She is.
What do her parents do?
Mom, Nate mutters, shaking his head.
What? I'm just asking.
Her mother owns a haute couture house, I say, because it's better to answer Grandma's questions. She'll find out anyway, so I'd rather gain brownie points than hide facts from her. She beams at my answer, but I recognize her fake smiles. After all, I learned from the best.
What about her father?
She doesn't have one.
Doesn't have one?
She places a hand on her chest.
Poor thing.
Give me a break. I'm out. Retrieving my phone, I furrow my brow and pretend I'm checking something important.
No phones at the table, darling,
Grandma says. It's the coach. He needs us for an urgent meeting. Go ahead then, Grandpa says. Nate leans into my side and whispers, "You're leaving me alone behind enemy lines? I'll make it up to you next time," I whisper back. Worst Wingman of the Year award? I stand and go to kiss Grandma's cheek. She pats my hand and smiles.
I'm glad you're doing well, darling, and that she was nothing. A seamstress's daughter isn't suitable for you.
I want to correct her, but I don't bother, as I nod at Grandpa and leave. I couldn't escape this house faster if I wanted to. It doesn't take me long to drive to the grill. I slip through the back entrance to avoid any celebratory rounds Chad is planning tonight. One of the staff tells me that our usual booth is empty, so I sit there and bring out my phone. I wait and wait, but there's no sign of Naomi. I text her at the number Raina gave me. Sebastian, I'm here. You are not. The reply is immediate. Naomi.
Never said I would be. Better luck next time.
A predatory smirk curls my lips as I stand up. She wants a game? I'll show her what playing is really like.
8. Naomi. I've been buzzing with excitement ever since I met the PI last night. While my logical side argues that I'm merely chasing a pipe dream, every other side is on board with the idea of finding my father. I haven't been able to entertain any other thoughts since. And yes, that includes forgetting about the van that almost kidnapped me or the out-of-body experience I had on national TV. All I can think about is the possibility of meeting my dad. And yeah, okay, The national TV incident won't really leave my head either, no matter how much I chase it away. The text he sent earlier didn't help. Is he still waiting at the grill? I shake my head. I don't care. At all. Now I just need to stop thinking about it. And being alone doesn't help. On a Saturday night, Luce and I usually hang out together, but she's busy with her new witch coven. I tried to distract myself by studying, but I really suck at preparing for exams in advance. I only excel when I study the day of. Netflix also wasn't much help, but hey, true crime shows are better than overthinking everything. So I put on shorts and my comfy hoodie and lay my fuzzy blanket on the sofa, then go to the kitchen for my ammunition. Soda, chips, nuts, and everything that would cause Brianna and her minions to have a stroke if they saw me consuming it. The scent of smoke is my only warning of Mom's presence as she steps through the kitchen's sliding doors with a phone at her ear and a half-burnt cigarette in her fingers. She must have not noticed I'm here because she doesn't raise her head as she speaks in Japanese. And while I'm not the best at writing it, I understand and speak it perfectly. I told you not to call me anymore. There's silence before she continues. That was a long time ago. When are you going to stop accusing me of that? More silence. Then Mom takes a long drag, the burn visible on the cigarette. The longer she listens, the harder her limbs physically shake as she shouts, I said no. And with that she hangs up, bringing the cigarette to her trembling lips. She seems weaker lately, and she's lost weight. Her job is definitely sucking her life away at this point. A clingy ex? I joke. Mom's head rears up and she coughs, her breath catching. No. How long have you been there? Since the beginning. I finger the items on the tray to keep my hands busy. Who was it? She throws up a dismissive hand. No one you should worry about. Just like I shouldn't worry about my father or my family. You don't have a father. As for your family, they kicked me out when I was pregnant with you, so I'm the only family you have. You're just saying that to guilt-trip me. I'm saying that so you stop having naive dreams. We only have each other. I also have a father somewhere. You just refuse to tell me where he is. She steps closer, stubbing her cigarette on the edge of the sink as her eyes glisten with moisture. I'm the one who faced social discrimination and did my best to give you a comfortable life. I'm the one who works day in and day out so no one looks down on you. What did your father do in all of that? I wouldn't know because you won't tell me. I'm protecting you. Just like you protected me from your boyfriend when I was 9 years old. If Dad were here, that would have never happened. She raises her palm and strikes me across the face so hard I reel from the shock of it. Mom doesn't hit me. Ever. The surprise on her face matches my own as burning tears roll down my cheeks. Her violet-painted lips shake. I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. Forget it. I told you to never bring that up again. It's all behind us now. I stopped dating and cut off my social life to take care of you. I never asked you to. All I ever wanted was my father, and you never gave me that. And I never will. She sniffles, her expression hardening. Stop being a baby and grow up. I want to tell her that I've been a grown-up since that night 12 years ago. That I figuratively lost my innocence, and she wasn't there for me. I want to scream that I hate everything she's done since then, that I hate her sometimes. But that will only make me an emotional mess, and I don't know how to deal with that. My relationship with Mom has been on and off for 12 years now, and I don't think it'll ever get better. I should have moved out when I graduated high school, but one drunken night she begged me not to go. Said she couldn't imagine her life without me, so I caved in and stayed. And for what? Nothing changed. If anything, she's gotten busier with each passing year. I'm definitely moving out after college ends. I'll go to Japan and put some distance between us. Maybe that's what we needed all along. A break from each other. The doorbell rings and Mom wipes her eyes and goes to answer it. Using the sleeve of my hoodie, I rub at my eyes to make the evidence of my weakness disappear. We're the same in that way, Mom and I. We hate showing our emotions to the outside world and actively close down whenever there's a chance. Grabbing my tray of goodies, I head to the living room, but freeze when I hear a very familiar rumbling voice. I must be imagining things. Soon after, though, Mom walks back inside, accompanied by none other than the Black Devil's captain and quarterback. The tray nearly falls to the floor, and my legs struggle to keep me upright. Sebastian is here. In my house. What the... I blink twice to make sure he's actually here. Yep, there he is, dressed in designer jeans that hang low on his sinful hips. A gray t-shirt stretches across his hard abs that his denim jacket is unable to hide. His hair is styled back, and his star smile is on complete display. So what if I can sense the hollowness behind it? Everyone else only sees the accomplishments and the quarterback image. Everyone else is only interested in what's on the surface. All this time, I thought I was too. But something changed last night. Or maybe it's been there all along and is only now making itself known. Your friend came to see you now, Mom announces, ever so casually, as if I actually have any friends aside from Lucy. I finally find my voice, but it still comes out low. He's not my friend, Mom. She's right. Sebastian offers her his $1 million all-American boy smile. I'm actually trying to court her. She raises a brow, her gaze flitting between the two of us before she mutters, "Good luck with that." And then she ascends the stairs, slowly disappearing from view, leaving me alone. Or with Sebastian, which is way worse. Ignoring him and my general state of flustering panic, I try to walk at a steady pace. I miraculously place the tray on the coffee table and sit on the sofa without knocking anything over. My voice, however, is a little strangled when I speak. You can leave. The door is right there. A heavy weight flaps beside me, causing a dip in the sofa. The pungent scent of bergamot and pepper assaults my nostrils and overwhelms my senses. My space is filled with his nefarious presence. I've never been this close to Sebastian before, and now that it's happened 2 days in a row, I can feel a part of me disintegrating, almost as if I'm going through some sort of an internal crisis. His face inches impossibly closer to mine as he coos seductively. I didn't come here so I could leave, Sundara. Stop calling me that. Why? Does it hit too close to home? I huff, ripping a bag of chips open and hitting play on Netflix. It'll get gory. You better go. I like gory. No, you don't, Mr. Prim and Proper. Just because I'm prim and proper doesn't mean I don't enjoy the exploration of the dark side. He steals a chip from my bag, his fingers brushing against mine for a second too long. I hold my breath until he retracts his hand. Swallowing the saliva that's gathered at the back of my throat, I steal a peek at him, at how illegally perfect he is, like a Roman god with all his sharp angles. What are you doing here, Sebastian? I ask in a barely audible voice. Watching the life of some serial killer because you stood me up. Ever think that I stood you up because I'm not interested in you? Or you stood me up because you are interested in me and scared of acting on it? You're delusional. He breaks eye contact with the TV and focuses on me. Want to make a bet? What type of bet? The type where if you win, I'll leave you alone. If you don't, you'll give me something I want. I don't like the sound of that, but at the same time, I know this is probably the only way he'll end whatever sick fixation he has on me. Fine. What's the bet? When I kissed you yesterday, you didn't moan. My temperature rises a notch at the reminder of last night. I don't know why I thought he'd pretend it didn't happen like I've been trying to. Of course, Sebastian is the type of person who'd hit me over the head with it, if for nothing else than to rattle me. I clear my throat. So? That's the bet. I'll kiss you again. If you moan, I win. If you don't, you win. I open my mouth to protest, but it ends on a gasp when his lips claim mine. 9. Naomi. Any objection I could have made crashes and dies against the liquid heat of Sebastian's tongue. There's no gentleness behind his kiss. If anything, it's deeper than yesterday's, with a sinister meaning lurking in its depths. For a second, I feel hunted, followed, just like last night on the forest road. Only, this time, he caught me. My heart hammers, but instead of stiffening, my body opens to his wicked ministrations. His palms cup my cheeks, his thumbs pressing hard to keep me immobile as he explores my mouth. Or more like, seizes it with simmering brutality. The strokes of his relentless tongue and the nibbles of his teeth against the cushion of my lips is nothing short of a conquest. Savage, merciless, and with no end in sight. He's consuming me in his rough viciousness, feeding off my energy and confiscating it for his own. If I let him, if I allow this, I have a feeling he'll never stop. Not that he appears to plan to anytime soon. I jam a fist between us, pushing at his chest, but that only prompts him forward. Sebastian swallows me into his warm presence and feasts on me with the urgency of a doomed man. The hum coming from our surroundings and the TV in the background gradually vanishes. Even the sofa we're sitting on feels ethereal, like we're suspended in midair. Why? Just why does he have this effect on me? As if I'm still that teenager who met him for the first time. The thought of those stolen moments coupled with his savage, unapologetic touch get to me in places that sure as shit shouldn't be affected. I argue with my head that I shouldn't give in to this, shouldn't allow him to play with me. But my logical side seems to be closed for business with the fiery stimulation taking over my body. A moan ripples in the air and I gasp in his mouth as I recognize my voice. I lost. Or more accurately, I never stood a chance to begin with. Even with the bells of his win echoing in the air, Sebastian doesn't pull away, doesn't stop, doesn't gloat about making me so hormonal that I couldn't control my damn reaction. If anything, he becomes more brazen, reaching a hand between us and cupping my breast through my hoodie. I'm braless, so his touch goes straight to my sensitive flesh. Another needy sound tears from my throat as his thumb presses down on my aching nipple. He then twists it between two callous fingers, causing me to whimper and shake. His back and forth against my breast doesn't end there, though, and shoots between my legs, metaphorically prying them open. Sebastian's mouth leaves mine with an agonizing slowness that catches my breathing and makes my lips tingle. I stare at him from beneath my lashes, and that's when I realize my eyelids have been drooping, as if I'm caught in a trance. My fractured breaths and his harsh ones fill the air as we stare at each other in ominous silence, one that says in blood letters that something's wrong. Or maybe it's too right, but it can still go wrong. Or maybe it's equally right and wrong. His fingers circle my nipple through the hoodie, and I suck in a sharp breath through my nostrils. I've never had someone toy with me this expertly, promising both pleasure and discomfort in equal measure. It's a free fall. Torture. Plain sadism. Were you ready for me, Sundara? He rasps near my ear, still tugging on my nipple, twirling, stimulating. Ready for you? My voice is too breathy and strangled, as if I'm relearning how to articulate properly. You left these tits uncovered because you wanted me to feel them. That's not true. He swipes his thumb over the peak, back and forth, controlling my shattered breathing until it matches the rhythm of his. But they're ready for me. Can't you see how much they want my mouth on them? Sebastian releases my face and starts to lift my hoodie. My insides burn red hot, and my stomach quivers when his knuckles brush against the burning skin. The thought of him seeing my breasts, actually touching them without a barrier, sends me into a spectrum of chaotic emotions. The swells of my breasts peek from underneath the material, my sickly pale skin contrasting against the black of the hoodie. Sebastian strokes an index finger over the bottom swell, causing my thighs to clench. The view of his masculine finger and the tone of his skin against the paleness of mine steals my focus. Look at how creamy and big your tits are, Naomi. The cheer uniform doesn't do them justice. His words trigger pressure against my most intimate part, and I can feel myself letting go, allowing him to do whatever he likes with me and my body. No. This will blow away every wall I've spent years building. Every barrier and layer I've carefully wrapped around myself since that red night. I don't know how I do it, but I grab his wrist and push it away, then jerk up so I'm not caught under his spell anymore. That doesn't stop the manic rise and fall of my chest, or how my nipples still burn to be touched. It doesn't stop my illogical need for more, or how my skin twitches for it like an addict going through withdrawal. Sebastian remains on the sofa, legs wide, appearing a bit too comfortable. Strands of his sandy hair fall in a beautiful mess over his forehead and darkened aqua eyes. In case you forgot, I won, tsundere. And with a KO at that, since you moaned 3 times. I suck in an unsteady breath, praying that my skin isn't reddening. That still doesn't give you the right to grope me. His tongue peeks out, moistening the edge of his upper lip. I find myself imitating the gesture, recalling how that same tongue felt curling around mine, sucking and dominating. You liked it. I snap my attention back to his, internally shaking myself. Or maybe you think I did to satisfy your dick-shaped ego. I didn't know you thought about my dick's shape, Naomi. I don't. You just proved you do. It's a figure of speech, asshole. My asshole, too. No wonder they say the quiet ones are the wildest. I am anything but quiet. I just don't like to talk when it's not needed, which is most of the time. You're talking now. That's because you're being infuriating. Oh, baby. Do I get on your nerves? Do you hate how you melt against me, even though you think you hate me? My stomach dips at the way he calls me that. Baby. I always thought I hated that endearment, that it felt cliched. But apparently that was before Sebastian fucking Weaver used it. Just how much more of me is he going to confiscate? Clearing my throat, I place a hand on my hip. I don't think I hate you. I actually do. Now, that's where you start lying. Your defense mechanism is cute. Don't call me cute. Why? Offended? No, I just don't want to catch anything from your elusive vocabulary. You don't know me, Naomi, so you're projecting right now, and not in a good way. You don't know me either. But I want to know you. His words hang between us like a silent prayer, prying and reaching for more. A body tremor takes hold of me, and it has little to do with how worked up I was a couple of minutes ago. Why? I murmur, before I can stop myself. Why what? Why would you want to get to know me? Why not? Don't play with me. I haven't even started playing with you. When I do, you'll definitely feel it. For now, I'm merely telling you the truth. But if your low self-esteem forbids you from recognizing it, that's on you. Did the bastard come here unprepared with this type of speech so he could get in my head? If that's the case, then surprisingly, he's succeeding. He stands up, and it takes everything in me not to flinch backward. His height is more appreciated up close. It's like his tall legs go on for miles, and his broad shoulders eat up the space. I'm like a tiny dwarf in comparison. Not really, but sort of. And seriously, why the hell am I appreciating the height and body difference? Why am I thinking that he could overpower me in a flash? I shouldn't. I really, really shouldn't. Inhaling deeply, I call for my inner feminist to kick out whatever black magic is holding my mind hostage right now. What are you doing? I demand. Collecting my win. I cross my arms over my chest to stop them from fidgeting. First of all, I didn't agree with that bet. You still went along with it. It still doesn't count. Yes, it does. He stalks toward me with every word until he's towering over me. Are you going to do it, or should I stay here all night long? You can't do that. I hope you have room for me in your bed. He winks. I can move a lot during the night. I clench my molars to hold in whatever nonsense I was about to say, then I release a sigh. What do you want? Come with me. Where? As a loser, you don't have the right to ask questions. You just follow along. I won't move from here until you tell me where we're going. Somewhere where your mother won't hear you moaning. My attention instantly snaps to the stairs. Holy Jesus. When he was kissing and groping me earlier, I completely forgot that Mom could have walked in on us at any second. Hell, she could have had a front row seat to the entire show, and I wouldn't even have sensed her. This bastard had me so completely hooked that I momentarily forgot where and who the hell I am. I give him a dirty look that the jerk returns with a wink. Another thing I used to hate, but seems kind of charming on him. Okay, more than kind of. Now he'll either stay and torment me, or Mom will really walk in on us in the midst of something, because I can still feel my body gravitating toward him. He's luring me, trapping me. And I'd be lying if I said my defenses weren't crumbling. Sebastian extends his palm like some twisted version of a gentleman. Shall we? I storm past him, heading outside. Only half an hour and then I'm coming back home. The night air causes the fine hairs on the back of my neck to stand on end. Or maybe the reason isn't the chill, but the heavy yet subtle footsteps following after me. His long legs catch up to me in no time, and before I can consider getting in my car, Sebastian places a hand at the small of my back, and half coaxes, half shoves me into his Tesla. I try ignoring how comfy the seat is. Someone could sleep in here. No, Naomi. Nope. You're not thinking about sleeping while you're in the asshole's car. I stare out the window as we travel the empty road. We don't talk, and he doesn't play the radio. And that only adds to the itch at the back of my head. If I were more social, I would find a way to break the stifling silence, but I just make it more awkward, so I hold my tongue. For someone who's treated like a god, Sebastian seems surprisingly comfortable with the silence. Soon enough, we find ourselves on the forest road, the one I was followed on last night. My fingers grab my seatbelt as I watch the trees that take on the shapes of monsters. I hope that Sebastian is only using this as a shortcut, as I usually do, but deep down a murky feeling clouds my thoughts. Something is wrong. Completely and utterly wrong. I shouldn't have come with him. I should have stayed in the comfort of my fuzzy blanket and watched true crime, not actually participated in it. Maybe I'm just too paranoid. After all, I watch more screwed up shit than should be considered healthy. My mind is being overly cautious, and Sebastian draws the car to a halt on a gravelly road, right in the middle of a dark, empty forest. His voice gains a frightening edge as it penetrates my skin. Get out.